Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be doing a different video today. It's not going to be a reading, it's actually going to be a story time. Okay, you guys requested that I do this story time video, and the story time is the time I did a love spell on my ex and I almost died. This is not clickbait, this is actually legit. Okay, I know it sounds crazy, but this is real. This is real life, you know, real life in the spiritual community. So grab a snack, grab a drink, pause this video if you want to go use the bathroom. I'm gonna try not to make this video so long. You guys know I don't like to make super long videos, but I'm gonna just keep it real and tell you exactly what happened. This is a very crazy story. Okay, so like I said, pause this video, eat a snack, drink something, and we'll get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, once upon a time, 2 years ago, I was on this app called, I think it was Scout. And I met this guy, and we're gonna call him, I was just about to say his real name. We will call him, that was almost a slip up, we will call him Jay. So, I met Jay on this app 2 years ago. I think I was 20 when this happened, so I was 20. And I was, looking just for that app for fun, just talking to different people, and this guy hit me up on there one day. And he was very attractive. He was tall, dark, handsome, that's my type. And he was very attractive, and he hit me up. And he had hit me up, I think it was on the weekend. I don't remember, guys. This feels like such a long time ago. I also want to make a disclaimer, or not a disclaimer, but make like a saying how a thing that happened, a thing how I was back then, because I think this is going to be very important. Is the person you see today, the king, the crown, 222, as I said that, I wasn't always this confident. I wasn't always this person. I was 2 years ago, I was very depressed. I was in a very dark place in my life, and I was trying to find who I was. I was just starting my spiritual journey. I had also actually broken up with a previous ex, not Jay, but another ex that I was with for 2 years, and it was extremely toxic. And I was just trying to, at the time I didn't love myself, so I was trying to find someone to kind of give me attention. I got to keep it real. Like, I wasn't who I was back then. And this is going to be very important in the story. So, anyway, I met Jay, and we started talking, and Jay gave me his number. He's like, hey, let me get your number, we can talk. And Jay called me, and we talked on the phone for about an hour. And see, there was so many red flags from the jump. And I think a lot of those dating apps, there's a lot of red flags on there. I think a lot of people don't really want anything serious, they just want to hook up. And one thing about me, even though I was in a very low place, I never did one night stands, I never hooked up with anybody. And I pride myself in that, because even though I didn't really fully love myself back then, I still knew what I deserved, and I still wouldn't settle or fall into temptation or compromise who I was and who I was standing for. So we talked on the phone, and he seemed very nice, but see, you need to listen to your intuition, because there was certain red flags that started to kind of appear, and my gut, my intuition was telling me something was off. So we spoke for a bit on the phone, and he told me that we talked and asking me, all about me, asked him about himself. And then he basically, I asked him, like, are you single? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people on there, they're with people and they still talk to other people. And he told me that he had just broken up with his ex, but they were still talking. Bruh, that is a red flag. So even then, even though I was new to my spiritual journey, I was kind of like, okay, that's really weird. And I had actually bought a tarot deck back then. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, I thought that, in my head, I'm like, that's a little bit weird. He's like, but I want to see you, but we're not in a relationship, but I want to see you. I want to meet up with you, and I want to meet up with you tonight. And I told him, well, you know what? I don't feel comfortable because what are we going to do at night at 12 o'clock in the middle of the night? Like, I'm not going to hook up with you. Like, he's like, no, I respect that. I respect that. And I told him straight up, like, listen, I'm not all about that. Like, I would like to get to know you first. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just get to know each other. So he was still persistent after that conversation. We talked for a few more days, and you know, I had just had this feeling though that something was not right, and I kept feeling something with the ex. So I remember I pulled cards, and this is when I was still learning how to do cards, like learning the interpretations. And I asked the question, is he still dealing with his ex? And the cards basically said yes. And I asked him about it a few days later, like kind of in a not directly, but in a way that, you know, and he was like, he denied it. And then we still talked, and he was still being very persistent, and he was so attractive, and I was like doubting my intuition. I was like, you know what, maybe I'm wrong, you know, maybe the cards were not on point, you know, maybe it's because I'm still learning. But he still was involved with his quote-unquote ex. And long story short, you know, that really did hurt me because I really did like him, and that was a red flag for me because I really liked him, and I didn't even know this guy, right? I didn't even really know who he really was. Like, yeah, I saw pictures of him, we talked, but I didn't know who he really was, and he didn't know who I really was. So I confronted him about it when he told me, and he was like, I'm like, why did you lie to me? He's like, oh, well, you know, I told you that we were still talking, but we were not together. I'm like, no, you told me that you guys were still talking, but you didn't tell me that you were still together. You told me that you weren't. And he was like, oh, well, whatever. If you want to talk to other people, I don't even care. And that was a sign for me to stop talking to him, but I chose to still talk to him after, and then he apologized. And then after that, like, I guess he was with his ex, and we stopped talking. Like, there was a time where we stopped talking for about a month, and I never deleted him. Like, I just, you know, I was kind of moving on, and then you know how when you try to move on, this motherfucker comes back? Like, that ex always comes back when you literally try to move on, right? So not that he was my ex at the time, but you know, that guy that you really like, and then you start moving on and they come back. You know how that is. So long story short, a month later, he had broken up with, I guess he had officially been over with his ex, and he wanted to come and see me. And it was crazy because I was just starting to finally get over him. And then when he messaged me, I just got really excited, and I was like, why am I getting excited like this? You know, I should not be talking to him. My intuition was screaming at me. The cards were saying, hey bro, stop talking to him. But of course I didn't listen. You know, like I said, I didn't love myself back then. So long story short, we started talking again, and we talked for about 3 weeks when we reconnected again before we actually met up. And the red flag, another red flag that happened was that he was living with his, I guess his mom, and he was 26 at the time. He was way older than me. And he had got into a fight with his mom, and I didn't know back then like that they had always had issues. Like, he had a lot of anger problems, but of course I didn't know that back then. And the mom kicked him out, and he was staying at this hotel in Hollywood. I'm not going to say the name of the hotel, but it was kind of like a shady area. And he's like, hey, can you come and, hey, let's go and meet. Like, I'm at the hotel. And long story short, I actually went, okay? It was not even a hotel. It was a motel, okay? And we met up there, and he wanted to have, you know, he wanted to be intimate with me, and I told him, you know what, I don't want to be intimate, like, I just wanted to get to know you, and I still stood by that. So I prided myself, and even then, and he respected that, and we talked, and, you know, he was respectful, and I was there for a few hours, and then I went back home, and then he texted me the next day, and then we met up. I think the following Monday, because we met up on Saturday when I went to the motel, not the hotel, the motel. And we hung out, and I just had this weird, I always felt like something was off energetically, like something in the air. You know, I knew I shouldn't have been messing with him because he told me he got into a fight with his mom, which was a red flag. He also didn't even have a job. Like, he wasn't even working, and he didn't even have a car too. Like, he literally, and I'll tell you the story what happened with that. His ex, he got into a big argument with his ex, and I guess they got into a physical fight in the car, and then he I guess he crashed into another car, and his car was damaged and he couldn't drive his car. And I didn't know that until later, after we like broke up. Okay, so he didn't have a car, and at the time, you know, I didn't drive either, and I just thought, okay, you know, I actually went to go, like I said, I used the Uber to go see him. And I was like, and there was so many red flags, but I really liked him, because it was weird, because even though something felt weird, I still really liked him. But it was because my higher self, God, the angels were warning me, but I wasn't listening. You know, he was so attractive, and he was nice, but there was just something there. Anyway, we met up on that Monday at a park, and we had a really good time. And he had ran out of the days he had to stay at that motel, so he was only there for like the weekend. And he was like, well, I don't know where I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna try to go back to my mom's place, and I'm gonna see if she can take me back. And his mom ended up taking him back. And so long story short, we started a relationship, and it was good at first, but then things started to take a really bad turn. And he knew that I was also into spirituality. Like I said, he knew I started practicing spell work at that time, but I was not good. I was doing little spells, you know, learning. I was kind of like a baby witch, but I was doing readings, and he knew about that. And, you know, he wasn't really like spiritual, but he respected my practices. You know, he wasn't like, he didn't think, oh, it was weird, but, you know, it wasn't really his thing, but he was like, you know, whatever. So, long story short, the relationship started to turn very toxic, and I didn't know that, you know, he was basically a narcissist. And I was like, you know how the typical narcissist empath relationship, he was accusing me of cheating. He always accused me of cheating, and I never cheated on him. Like, I never cheated. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I never cheated on him, and he would always accuse me. I would always, like, God forbid, if I didn't answer my phone, if I was taking a shower and 5 minutes passed, he would just blow up my phone. Who are you talking to? You know, oh, stop talking to these other dudes. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm not cheating on you. Like, and I would send him screenshots. And it just turned very, 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 very toxic. And we hung out almost every single day. And yeah, it was like very codependent. And even though I felt something like I shouldn't be with him, because I think we rushed it too fast too. Like, we were just in a relationship just like that, and I don't think that was right, because the foundation was already faulty. It was already kind of, you know, some deception, and it was not really honest, and it wasn't stable on both sides. You know, he wasn't stable, I wasn't stable within myself. Like I said, I was depressed. I got out of a bad relationship, and I just wanted to talk to someone, but I also wanted to be with someone at the same time, and it was just a mess. Anyway, the relationship was very rocky. Like I said, it was like one minute it was okay, then it was just bad. It was like always up and down, up and down, up and down. And my spirit guides were always warning me to leave. Like, I was getting signs. Y'all, I'm not even kidding you. And this was creepy, and I don't know what this was, but every time, because we used to hang out at this park, we would meet up there. And every time we would go to that park, there would always be like this black June bug that would follow only him. Like, it would just follow him. Like, it would never come towards me, but every time we'd be walking, the black June bug would just be attached to him and would follow him. And you know, and I asked him, I'm like what, like, did you have any like food on you or something? And he's like, no. He's like, that is so weird, because he's like, when that's never happened to me. He's like, you know, only when I've been with you that ever happens. And I was like, that is so weird, right? I was like, that is so creepy. And he was just like, yeah, like every time I'm with you, that's all that bug just always comes to me. So he started thinking that I was doing work on him. He's like, are you doing spell work on me? And I was like, no, like I never, like, and I didn't do spell work on him when we were together. But he was accusing me, and he thought I put like a hex on him and a curse on him. And I was like, what are you talking about? I've never done that to you. And long story short, our relationship was just like really very toxic. He was very manipulative. And I'm not saying I was a saint, you know, guys, I'm not a saint, but I can tell you that I really had a good heart, but I was also a broken person. I didn't love myself. I didn't appreciate myself. I was just like, I didn't love myself, obviously. So I take accountability for that. Ow, my leg fell asleep. Ow. Sorry guys, my leg fell asleep. But yeah, so towards the end of our relationship, we were together for like 4 months, and towards the end of our relationship, which was August, it was like a week before my birthday, he had finally gotten his car fixed, and he's like, hey, let's go to the beach, like I want to take you to the beach. And you know, at that time, like our relationship was really like, I was already wanting to leave. Like I was just telling him, you know what, maybe we should end it. But he was like, you know what, no, I want, you know, things will change. Like I want to work on it with you. But it was just extremely toxic. So a week before my birthday, he wanted to, he asked me to go to the beach. Let's go to the beach. He got his car and everything. And he took me to the Santa Monica, beach, but it was nighttime, and we were there. And you know, I thought that was so sweet of him, because I'm like, wow, you know, he got the first time he got his car back, he wants to take me out, and he was being very sweet. He's like, you know, next time I want to take you for your birthday, I'm going to take you to this other place, and you're going to really love it. And I was like, okay, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, you know, he has changed. Maybe he was just mad because he couldn't have, you know, he didn't have all the, like, he didn't have his car. He didn't have the things to make him feel stable. You know, I was, I guess, making excuses in a sense. Anyway, a week goes by and everything went really bad, and we got into a big fight again. I don't even know what happened, guys. Like, it was like a few days before my birthday. Like, he oh, this is what happened. But I feel like there was something else. So you know how on Instagram you have like those fake accounts that follow you, and sometimes it's like those fake guys from like the Middle East? There was this guy that followed me, and you could tell it was a fake account, bro. Like, you could click on it, you could tell it was fake. He accused me of talking to that guy and cheating on him with that guy, and I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm not even like, I'm like, dude, like, what are you talking about? Like, I haven't even, like, what are you talking about? Like, that's a fake account. Like, I tried to explain to him. He was just so convinced that I did that. And then he's like, you know what? I'm done with you. I'm going to go. I have someone else. I'm going to go move in with in Anaheim. And I was like, what? Like, he just completely just turned on me again. And he blocked me. He blocked me a few days before my birthday. My birthday's actually this month, August 29th. So this would have been like the 24th or the 25th. That's crazy. It's almost a year ago. 2 years ago, sorry. Almost 2 or 3 years ago that this happened. My mind is a blur, guys. I don't like to think about that because that was such a like crazy time in my life, just period. So he blocked me, and I was trying to talk to him. I was trying to call him, and he blocked me on my number, and I called him on another number. I'm like, hey, like, why, what did you do? What did I do? Like, I was crying. And he was like, oh, I forgot what he said, he's like, oh, I don't have time, you know. He's like, I just don't think we're gonna work out. And he was just like really cold towards me. And he was like, all right, man, I gotta go. And then he, you know, it just, you know what it almost kind of felt like? It just kind of felt like, because I did encourage him when we were together. Like, I was like, hey, you know, you should get your car again. Like, I was working on getting my car. I was like, you need to get your car, you need to get your license, you need to get a job. Like, you need to like be stable within yourself. And I encouraged him, and he smoked. And I don't smoke, guys, believe it or not. I don't smoke. I don't judge people that smoke. But he had issues with also alcohol, and he smoked a lot of weed. But he didn't drink when he was around me, but he did smoke. And I told him, hey, you need to get your car, you need to get your stuff together, right? You need to get stable. So he got his car, and it seemed like when he got that sense of freedom, he just discarded me. And he just, like I said, it happened out of nowhere. I was so heartbroken, I was so depressed, and he had promised me that he wanted to take me to this place, and it never happened. So I was very depressed. I had a terrible birthday. I also, too, like my family didn't really know about my relationship, because they didn't really accept who I was, and I kind of kept it private. So I was suffering in silence. Like, I was really, really depressed. And a week after my birthday, I had messaged him. And I messaged him like, hey, like, how are you doing? Like, and he was like, and I messaged him on literally an Instagram account. Like, he blocked me, and he was like, oh, I'm doing good. And then he's like, can I call you? And I say, sure. And he told me that he got married. He got married to this girl. This girl is from Germany. And this girl that he got married to, like, he was living in downtown LA now, and he married this girl, and she married him so she could stay in the country. Some 90-day fiance shit. And I was like, no, you're joking. He's like, yeah, I married her, like, I'm married now. And he was living in this lot with her, and I guess, like, he was working, and I was like, what the fuck? So long story short, oh my gosh, this video is gonna be so long. But you know what? It's okay. So long story short, fast forward, I was heartbroken. I was, getting readings from people, and I found this lady on Etsy, and she was doing these spells. So it was like a love spell, and I asked her, hey, can you do this love spell? I explained to her my situation. She's like, hey, let me send me your pictures. And she saw our pictures, and she's like, you don't cast? And I'm like, yeah, I do, but, I'm learning. I'm like, how did you know that? And she's like, well, because I saw your picture, and I saw that you have abilities to cast magic. Like, she said, clairvoyant. She's like, the angels told me that. Because she also used angel magic, and she used angels in her spell work. So she's like, hey, I can give you the ingredients. Like, you don't have to buy this from me. You can make it yourself. I'm like, no, girl, can you please buy it for me? Like, can you please make it for me? Because I don't know how to make this. Like, I don't have time. Like, just do it for me. So she's like, all right, do this spell. Like, take this spell with you. Like, she sent it to me. She's like, when on the new moon, cast this spell. She gave me black candles to remove obstacles. Okay, this is where the crazy part comes in. So she did the spell for me. And she was like a bottle, but she told me, here's a ritual, you do it yourself, you do this part, you can do it. Like, I believe if you do it, it's going to work. So I did the spell, and knowing that he was with this other girl, like, he was with this girl, he told me that he wasn't having sex with her, but that they were just still talking, of course, right? But I still wanted, I still wanted to be with him in a sense, or I'm like, let's just be close again. And my mind was so weird, because why would I do a love spell on somebody that obviously didn't really care about me, right? And long story short, I did the spell, and he started talking to me again. I did it twice, on the new moon, and I did it on the full moon. The second time I did the spell on the full moon, y'all, my room looked like the craft. I put so many candles everywhere. I got his picture, I got the oil, you know, I used some herbs. I was like, I was literally in my room for 4 hours, chanting, putting all this energy, like using my hands like this and doing this spell. And I used black candles to remove the obstacles. The second time I used the black candles for the ritual, and it was a full moon. I did the spell for 4 hours. Around 4 in the morning, I stopped and I went to sleep. Tell me why I wake up at 7 in the morning that same day, and I used the bathroom, and I left my phone in my room, and something told me to go look at my phone because I just felt like he had sent me a message. It was like almost like telepathic. And I had gone back into the room, and I had seen he had messaged me, he had called me. He's like, please call me. So I literally called him, and I'm like, what happened? He was like, I got into a big fight with her, and I'm on the run. Like, we got into a big physical fight, and I took her wallet, and I took her stuff, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. Can I come and see you? Bro, I was really like, what the fuck? Like, got into a really big fight. And long story short, a week later, I told him, you know what, I don't feel comfortable, because I was like, dude, you're gonna go to jail, like they're gonna arrest you. And he was like, you know, I want to come and see you, please. And a week later we met up, and he had like, it was a weird situation, because I don't know why he didn't go to jail. For some reason, I know she did file the report. I don't know if she filed it right away or eventually, but he was still out, and he came and saw me, and he told me that he wanted to be in a relationship with me. And I was like, you know what, no, we gotta be like, let's just be friends. Like, I don't want a relationship with you because I don't know what's gonna happen to you, and you're probably gonna go to jail for physically assaulting this person. And long story short, because this video is very long, I'm gonna just make this, that was the crazy part. Literally, those black candles were literally to remove an obstacle, but she technically was the obstacle. And of course, my intention was not to cause a fight. My intention was just to let us talk again and bring us back together, and, you know, and come back to me, which was very manipulative, which was very toxic on my part, because it was bad. It just resulted in a lot of bad things. So anyway, I told him, no, we need to just be friends. Like, I don't mind just being cordial with you, but I don't want a relationship with you. And he was like, okay. But he started becoming extremely obsessed with me. And we would hang out sometimes, and we would still hang out. Not all the time, but we met up every other few days. And he was just like very obsessed over me. He started being very like possessive, and he was always possessive in a relationship, but he was just even more possessive. And I remember I was with one of my friends, like one of my girlfriends, and I hung out with her, and he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm at, you know, so-and-so's house. And he got really jealous. He's like, what are you doing there? How come, what, you know, talk to me. He's like, tell me what you're doing. And I was like, dude, I'm just hanging out there. I'm like, why are you tripping? We're not even in a relationship. But I didn't even realize at the time that my spell worked. Like, I was just like thinking, oh, he's just acting really weird. Like, I just thought it was all a coincidence. I did not think my spell did that. And maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe it was kind of karma for him / my spell maybe pushed things to manifest faster. I don't know. Or manifest his karma faster. I have no idea. But all I know is that this dude was so obsessed with me. and he started becoming very possessive of me. He started showing up at my house, and there was one incident where I almost died. I'm gonna timestamp this reading as well, so you guys will see the parts. If you guys get bored, you guys can skip the parts, and you guys can you know, watch this back or whatever. So one night, this was in October, and I don't ask me how he did not go to jail. I don't know how he was still out. I don't know how. Okay, don't ask me how was he not in jail. I did not know. But he was still free, but he did not go back to where that place was, and I don't know what happened to that girl. Anyway, long story short, but they were still married, which is crazy. Long story short, this night, he's like, hey, I want to come, let's hang out. And I just had a really bad feeling that night. I just had, you know how you have this weird feeling like something's going to happen, like this really gut feeling? I had a really negative feeling like something was going to happen and that something bad was going to happen to me. I really felt something. But I still went. I didn't listen to my intuition. Guys, always listen to your intuition. So I didn't listen to my intuition. I went that night, I got in a car, and something just felt really, 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 really weird. Something told me I knew something bad was going to happen when I got in the car. We parked at this park in the dark, at this park that we used to go to. Not the same, it wasn't the same park, it was another park that we started going to, what we used to go to a lot too, so there was two parks. And, we were in the car, and I was texting this girl, the same girl like my friend, and we were just talking, and he was telling me how he met this other girl, and that, you know, they really connected, and they were really cool, and I thought, oh, okay, and I just showed him a picture of the girl that I was talking, like, oh, here's my friend. He got very triggered. I think he thought I was trying to make him jealous, or that I was trying to, like, I don't know if he thought I got jealous, or which wasn't the case. I really honestly didn't want to be in a relationship with him anymore, and I told him that. He got very, very mad. He's like, you know what? Get out of the car. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, he's like, get out of the car, Eric. I was like, I'm like, hey, take me back home, because we were a little bit far. I'm like, just take me back home. I'm like, no, I'm like, take me just back home. He's like, get out of the car. And he was like, get out of the car. And I was like, no. I'm like, just take me back home. And I kind of was laughing because I thought he was joking. He got out of his driver's seat. He got so angry, and he went on the other side, and he grabbed me. And he, like, grabbed my shoes, like, get out of the effing car. And then he literally, like, threw me out with his hand, and he kicked me, and he broke my phone. And I was laying on the sidewalk. Like, part of my body was on the sidewalk, and part of my legs were on the street, and he almost ran me over. And I got up really fast when he turned on the engine, and he sped, and then he drove away, and he sped off, and I went to go get my phone, and my phone was broken. And I'd never been in a situation like that. And then he came back, he's like, get in the car. And I started cussing at him. I'm like, listen, you are going to pay for what you did. I'm like, watch what's going to happen to you. And I'm like, watch what's going to happen to you. I was bleeding. I was crying. She called one of my best friends, and I was talking to her. And it's crazy because she's still my best friend to this day. And she was like, you know what? I had a feeling when you text me, because I texted her first. I'm like, hey, can we talk? I need to talk to you. And then she's like, it's crazy because before you texted me, she's like, I had this feeling, I thought of you, and I felt like something happened. And long story short, I didn't file a restraining order on him. I wanted to, but I didn't, because I was like, he's already in trouble with the law. He's gonna go, you know, he's gonna go away. And long story short, he, like I said, he was showing up at my house prior, and when that happened, I had literally blocked him on Instagram. I blocked him again off everything. I blocked him this time, and he was trying to talk to me on another Instagram account, like, hey, I need to talk to you. let's talk. I blocked him, and then he showed up at my house a few days later at 5 in the morning. He's like, please, I'm so sorry. I want to talk to you. Like, please, you know, I want to be with you. Like, I'm so sorry this happened. And I was just like, it just seems so crazy because I didn't even remember that I literally did that spell, and that spell was in my closet. Like, I put the bottle in the closet. I never, like, I was also going to school at that time, so my life was so busy. Like, there was so many things going on, and I just didn't think that that spell did it. I didn't think I had the ability to do that. Like, I honestly thought that it was just all a coincidence. I know that's so dumb, but I was very naive, and I made very dumb choices. And I literally thought that that was just a coincidence. And it wasn't until later that I contacted the lady. I'm like, listen, I told her what everything that happened. I'm like, listen, I don't know what to do. I told her the situation. I'm like, what do I do with this jar? And we need to break this spell. And sorry, I got a like on my TikTok. And she's like, oh my gosh, here, get a black candle. And I want you to like make a fire and light a black candle as a release and break the jar. So I ended up breaking the jar, and he disappeared. He disappeared. He went away. Turns out that they finally got him. They finally got a warrant, and they arrested him for that girl. And they took him to jail, and he was in jail for some time. And he was in jail for, I think he got arrested in December of 2020 or November. November 20 was before Thanksgiving, and he was in jail for a few months until he got out on bail. And I had a feeling that he was going to come back even after I broke the spell. Like, I was doing readings, and all the readings would always show him in my energy, and he was like going to come back. And I was like, how is this possible? Like, there's no way. He's in jail. He probably got a felony. You know, it was just so crazy. And my friend is also a reader, and she told me, no, he's going to come back. Like, he's going to come back. He's going to come back. So tell me why in March of 2021, I get a message on another account. He's like, hey, this is Jay. I need to, like, can I talk to you? I blocked him. He started calling me on different numbers, and I blocked him. He didn't show up at my house anymore, and then he just ended up disappearing again. And I think he went back to jail, actually, because no, actually he did go back to jail, because I did check his name on the inmate search. And sorry guys, I'm trying to remember everything, so I hope you guys don't think I'm making this up. Like, I'm legit remembering everything. It's just I try to like block this out because it was just really crazy. So I did check like his inmate thing, and he went back to jail. He got arrested again. Like, I think he got out on bail on March, and then he got arrested in April of 2021. And so about almost a year ago. And he went back to jail, and he literally has been there ever since. And when he went back to jail, one of his exes actually messaged me. I don't know how the ex found me, but I don't know how, but one of his exes messaged like, hey, is this Eric? And well, it was a transgender. His ex was transgender, so she actually told me, like, she messaged me, and she was telling me like how he abused her, and how you know, the similar stories that we had. And I'm like, how did you find me? And she's like, well, you know, when he got out, he was talking about you. And yeah, like, she's like, I tried to contact him, and I found him, and he's like, I started talking to him, but he was talking about you a lot. Like, he was talking about like you a lot, that he still wanted to be with you, and that he wanted to, you know, come back to you. But she was telling me like, and I'm like, how, it just seems so weird. I guess he gave her my Instagram, or she found my Instagram. I don't really know, but we basically shared the same stories. Like, she told me, I didn't tell her that I did work, but she told me that he was very abusive. He used to abuse her, and that he left her when he got something from her, and it was just a very crazy story, and it was just very, very wild. It was a very, very, very wild experience, guys. And there's a lot of things that I forgot to mention, but maybe I can make another story time if you guys want me to. It's already 40 minutes. This is a very long story time. I wanted to make this fast, but I also didn't want to leave too much out. But yeah, like, she told me certain crazy things that happened with her, and how he was abusive with her, and that he was just really, like, he also stalked her as well. Like, she told me he stalked her. So the lesson behind this story, guys, is be careful with love spells. If someone is not meant for you anymore, let them go. If someone is treating you bad, let them go. Because you could be blocking out a good person for you. And when you don't love yourself, like I did not love myself, look at what I did. If you do decide to get a love spell, get a reading done. Make sure that the person still loves you. There's nothing wrong with doing a spell to reconnect a relationship or mend a relationship that the person already loves you. You know, someone that really cares about you. But when you're doing spell work on people that toxic people that don't want to be with you anymore, or that are toxic and left you, and you want them to be in your life, be careful, because you're messing with free will, you're messing with destiny. And it was a karmic lesson for me, because I had to learn a lesson that, you know, not everyone in your life is meant to stay in your life, and not everyone that is good for you is meant to stay in your life. And I had to learn a big lesson. And, you know, I do believe kind of too, like, the spell was karma for him too, in a sense, because I think it pushed things forward, because I don't think he was going to last with that girl, to be honest, but I think the spell pushed it to them to argue, and for it to kind of manifest the way it did. I know they say everything happens for a reason, so maybe there was a divine purpose behind all of this. I don't know. But all I know is that I paid a price as well, and magic, there's a cost to magic. And you guys, please, 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 if you're ever doing a love spell, make sure that it's worth it. Make sure, ask yourself, is this really worth it? Is this person really worth my time? Do I really want to be with this person? Ask yourself that question, because, you know, you may manifest something and you may get what you want, but you know that saying, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. So that is my story, guys. I hope you guys like this reading. I will timestamp this reading too, for you guys. This is a very long reading, but I wanted to tell you guys, because this reading, I could not tell this reading in 5 minutes. That would have been impossible. But yeah, guys, that is my story. I will also be posting the collective reading tomorrow for you guys, for all signs. I got some interesting messages for you guys for tomorrow that I saw throughout the few days prior. So I got a lot of messages for you guys. And we'll get started on that, and I will see you guys next time, and have a beautiful day. Peace.